What's up, guys? In today's video, I'll be going over Fight Night Moicano versus Duncan. Now, the reason that I didn't do so earlier was one, nobody gave a shit about this card. In terms of name value, there was really none on the card other than, Richie, Tommy McMillan, if you're an O'Malley fan, Moicano, he's a ranked lightweight fighter, lightweight being one of the best divisions in the sport right now. Other than that, there's a lot going on. UFC 327 is coming up, Easter just passed, so plenty of other priorities. With that being said, I will be going over this card because I did watch it and I had an amazing time watching it. I mean, there's some plenty of great fights, some great moments. And the reason why I'll only be going over the main card rather than the entire card, prelims, prelims and main card is because, like I said, nobody gave a shit about it. So without dragging things on any further, let's get into it. First fight of the main card, we had Jose Delano versus Robert Rachula. This fight was great. This was a featherweight bout. Jose Delano's UFC debut did not disappoint, got the win. This fight was exciting. It wasn't the distance, but it was definitely one of the better fights on the card, in my opinion. Very action packed. I mean, the first round, Rachula, Polish fighter, there were a few spinning back fists. There was plenty of punches, kicks, knees, elbows, wrestling. Like it was, these guys mixed it up perfectly. This was a very entertaining fight. If you haven't watched it, I'd say definitely give it a chance. Rachula, he threw some spinning back fists, kept me on the edge of my seat, caught me off guard a few times. Delano in the clinch, he was throwing some damaging shots to the liver. I mean, there was one moment before they clinched up where, Rachula, he's Polish, so he's white as snow, showed him he was, just looking white. Delano threw 2, 3 knees to Rachula's liver, and then, half a second later, Rachula's entire right side was super red. I mean, he looked like if he held the Polish flag, if he rotated 90 degrees where one side was red, the other side was white, like Delano was throwing some powerful shots to the liver. There were some moments where I thought he might get a finish. Like I said, it went the distance, but Delano, he dropped Rachula in round one. He wobbled him in round two. There were definitely some moments where I thought that he would get the finish. He didn't ultimately, but it was a dominant fight. If you look at the stats, it looks like it was, like it was just an absolute beatdown. That wasn't really the case. I mean, the fight looked a bit closer than it was in terms of the stats and the scorecards. Part of the reason it was closer, if you ignore the scorecards, was because towards the end of the match, Rachula was grabbing the fence to avoid getting taken down, and I believe the judges took a point off of, his scores, so that definitely played a little bit more into making this look like an absolute domination. Plenty of amazing moments in this fight, like I said. There was one where Rachula threw, a high kick with his right leg. Delano caught it and then pushed him forward just effortlessly, just like lightly pushed him. Rachula fell and then Delano walked towards him slowly like he was in an edit, bro. Like just straight aura farming. I mean, this fight was great. It was a great debut for Delano. I'm excited to see who he fights next. Rachula, on the scorecards and the statistics, it looks like he got his ass beat. I mean, he was bloody. He did get beat, dropped, once minimum. He was getting tore up, but he was making it competitive. He definitely had some great moments where he displayed some great wrestling. Both these guys, went 0 for 5, 0 for 3 in their takedowns. It's not because the wrestling was bad. It was because both guys had amazing wrestling defense, takedown defense specifically. So definitely a great fight, and it kicked off the main card very well. The second fight of the main card, Tommy McMillan versus Manolo Zucchini. Now this fight, before the fight started, I had a little schizophrenic moment where, it showed the fighters lined up next to each other, with the stats where it was the height, reach, records, age, all that. And Tommy McMillan was on the left side of the screen with a Tony Montana tattoo where he's holding the M4 pointing at the right side of the screen. And if you look to the right side of the screen, you see Manolo Zucchini. I was like, damn, man, this dude's got a tattoo of Tony Montana pointing a Tommy or M4 to the right side of the screen. On the right side of the screen is Manolo. In Scarface, spoilers if you haven't seen it, Tony kills Manolo. I was like, damn, is Tommy about to, lay Manolo out? That's exactly what happened. Knocked him the fuck out. Not an actual knockout, but he laid him out. So I definitely had a moment where I was like, this is low key scripted. Like there's some foreshadowing going on, but this was a great fight. I mean, these guys, Manolo, he's an O'Malley associate, I guess you would call it. Tim Welch. He trains at the Red Hawk Academy. Um, he was definitely hyped before the fight even began. The crowd was screaming his name, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy Gunn, like fan favorite. Manolo, he was feeling that pressure. He came out swinging hard. I mean, in round one, this fight only went, it ended in the first round, but there were Superman punches, flying knees. Like I said, they came out the gate swinging. These guys, there was no takedown attempts, but there was a few times, like in the clinch, where it looked like Tommy was trying to, get some snap downs on Manolo, like grabbing the back of the head, trying to snap him down. I don't know if it was just to get better positioning because he had a few front headlocks. I believe he had like 2 front headlocks on him. I don't know what the goal was. If at one point it looked like he was trying to guillotine Manolo. Obviously it says 0 submission attempts, but I believe if you rewatch that, you'll hear someone yell guillotine, guillotine in the background. So this was definitely an amazing fight. McMillan, this is another one of those fights where like the stats and watching it seem different. Maybe it's because Manolo didn't land as many strikes as he threw, and the camera angles from what was on Paramount made it seem like you couldn't see the depth of the punches or the kicks. You couldn't tell that certain ones weren't landing. Definitely thought he had more strikes in this fight. These guys, they were going at it for a while. They were wobbling each other pretty badly. I mean, this was Tommy McMillan. He did knee Manolo in the nuts. I mean, they had to give an official timeout. I don't think he lost a point. It didn't matter anyways. He finished Manolo, but I don't remember if he lost a point for that. But it definitely it changed the pace up a little bit after that happened. But these guys were coming out swinging for the fences, bro. Like this was a little, uncontrolled, a little like reckless, I guess you could say. But this was an exciting fight to watch. It wasn't the most technical, but very exciting to watch. Curious to see who Tommy fights next. I mean, he's got a long way to go before he takes on a ranked opponent, but he's definitely someone to keep your eye on in the featherweight division. Next up was Ethanewing versus Rafael Estevam. Ewing, he's a beast. I mean, he took on Malcolm Wellmaker short notice and beat him. He's now beat Rafael Estevam by finish by TKO. This fight it went longer than it should have. I mean, there was a moment at the end of the first round where Ethan dropped Estevam, and then he was doing, he was trying to follow up with ground and pound, but Estevam was saved by the bell. Very exciting moment where it looked like Ethan might get him done in the first round. Did not happen. There was a moment in the second round where Estevam, he survived a barrage that I didn't think he would. You could tell he was slowing down. Like his reaction time was getting worse. I mean, he was bleeding around the mouth. Like Ethan was definitely piecing him up. Um, Raphael shot 8 takedowns, all of them stuffed by Ewing. I mean, he sprawled on him constantly, just absolutely neutralized Raphael's wrestling. Very, very technical in this fight. Um, I mean, I say that you look at the total strikes versus the landed strikes, and it doesn't seem that way. But Ethan, so maybe technical. It wasn't the most precise, but it was a very technical fight in my opinion. Like I said, Ethan, he being Ethan, stuffed all of Estevam's takedowns, piecing him up on the feet, just absolutely destroying him. Estevam, he survived the first round, saved by the bell. Um, Second round, I'm surprised he even made it out of that. He was slowing down. He wasn't landing strikes. I don't want to say they were sloppy takedowns, but they were getting stuffed with ease, I'd say. And then the third round, he fell. There's a barrage of punches by Ewing. It was almost like a delayed reaction where it looked like he fell and grabbed his side, like by his liver, his right side. But Ethan, I don't think in that barrage actually hit the liver. I don't know if it was a delayed reaction or what happened, but like, he fell at some point and then kind of curled up in a ball. Ethan, I think he threw like one more punch just for good measure, and then the ref stopped it, and then Ethan got the dub. Ethan, definitely someone to look out for. Like I said, he beat Malcolm Wellmaker on short notice. Um, Beat Estevam by finish. Like he's doing big things now. And this dude, we talk about blockheads. This guy's got a fucking blockhead. Like there was one moment I saw a meme like last week where it showed his head. Pretty sure it was photoshopped. I don't know if it was on like Stand 'em Up MMA's page or Home of Fight or whoever, but I think it was like slightly photoshopped, just barely to make his head look disproportional to his body. And in this fight, I could not unsee that, bro. The entire fight, I was like, damn, bro, is his head big? Like, does this guy got a blockhead? Like, I was fixating on the wrong thing, but absolute domination. This was another exciting fight on this main card. This card, because it had no name value, people didn't watch it, but it was pretty good. I mean, definitely check out this fight, the Delano fight, the McMillan fight, if you do have the free time. I would say these fights were real good in my opinion. Next up was Yakyaya versus Ribeiro. Um, this fight ended in the first by sub. Nothing too crazy. I mean, not a lot of strikes thrown. Pretty high percentage for Yakyaev, landed 23 out of 38. Ribeiro, I don't want to say he was gun shy, but obviously threw significantly less. Yakyaev was 2 for 3 on takedowns, one submission attempt, which was the rear naked choke, which he got. I think the most exciting part of this fight was that there was one moment where Ribeiro threw a high kick. Yakyaev caught it. He dropped him, and then from there, he got into his half guard, into Ribeiro's half guard. From there, worked into, he took the back. Ribeiro, he tried to stand up a few times. Yakyaev was trying to get him off balance. He was kicking the outside leg out, trying to get him to shift his weight. And then eventually he did get him back on the floor, held the back, got the rear naked choke and won. There was a moment where Michael Bisping said it like he was surprised because usually Yakyaev's fights don't go that long. He said that this was the longest fight he's had in the UFC, which is crazy because it was just over half of one round. That round being the first round. So definitely interesting to see. Yakyaev is undefeated, but this match, he won pretty easily, I'd say, but it wasn't the most exciting. So we'll see what he does next. Next up, virnajandiroba versus tabatharicci. Now I feel bad for Verna, bro, because she dominated Richie. I mean, both these girls were 50% of their takedowns, but 1 for 2 is obviously way different than 6 for 12. Verna threw many more strikes, landed way more. She was dominant. I mean, she kept getting Richie, like piecing her up on the feet, getting her on the floor with her takedowns. She had a couple stuffed, but she clearly won this fight. I mean, dude, it really sucks because this was an exciting fight, but like, it's just I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like no matter what I say, people know what I'm talking about. Where like things will happen in WMMA that they are impressive, but it's just like the interest just is not there. And then I don't know. Sometimes we just I don't want to say we put anyone else into this, but sometimes you want certain things to happen that don't happen, and it kind of influences how you view the fight itself. But Verna, she put up an amazing performance. Richie, she showed a lot of heart as well. I mean, she survived the first round. It looked like she might have gotten submitted. Like she was going to get submitted in the first round, didn't survive that. Came out swinging. Like she was definitely fighting, but her skill just was on the level of Jandiroba's. At least not on Saturday night. So this fight, it was good. I mean, Verna, I don't think she'll fight Dern for the belt next. I think she'll have to wait while Zhang Weili comes back and fights Dern, and then more than likely gets the belt back. Verna, I don't know who she'll fight in the meantime, but she'll definitely have to face at least one more fighter before getting the belt. Richie, I'm not sure who she'll fight next. We'll see. Definitely, I mean, these girls are in, you know, not Richie at the moment, but they're both in, title talks in terms of like they're obviously behind Wei Li, but everybody is like Wei Li will get her belt back. And then the highlight of this fight, which is hilarious to me, is the post-fight interview where Michael Bisping is interviewing Jandiroba. Like he's speaking to her, and he has the translator translating, and then she's responding in English, like broken English. Michael Bisping went in there, asked her one question, she responded, looking like crazy eyes for Mr. Deeds, looking like Raul Rosas Jr. She responds in broken English. Then Bisping looks at her like, damn, bro, she's fucking up my language. And then he asked her one more question. He essentially asked her, who do you want to fight next? And then she's out of breath. She's wheezing. She's sitting there and she's like, oh, I want to fight Mackenzie Dern. And he was like, yeah, I figured. All right, Verna Jandiroba, everybody. And like, kind of like rushes her out of the octagon. He only asked her 2 questions because it sucks because you could tell the interest just isn't there to see her as a fighter for whatever reason. I mean, you could tell he's kind of rushing her out. Like, She was sitting there wheezing, like out of breath, trying to speak in broken English. You know, she doesn't have a whole lot of time left in the UFC, I don't think. We all know that, like, she's not beating Zhang Weili. I mean, if she doesn't beat Dern, she's not beating Weili. So this fight, it was good, but like, I don't know, man. I don't want to sound like too much of a hater because it was an extremely technical fight, and these ladies put up an amazing performance. And then finally, Moicano versus Duncan. Moicano got it done. This one was interesting. I mean, I don't like two. I don't say I don't understand. I mean, the end goal for Moicano is money, but he said that he was surprised he was fighting Duncan, which interested me because I've been hearing a lot recently from UFC fighters how they're legally required to receive 3 fights per year, and then they can accept or turn them down. So he said, "Oh, I was surprised I was fighting Duncan." I mean, did you not have a choice? Like, there's no way they forced you into it, or you just knew you found out who you were fighting the week of the fight. Like, they asked you, "Do you want to fight him?" I'm sure, and he said yes. But this was a good fight. First round is very competitive. A lot of a lot of striking rather than grappling. Moicano is obviously a huge submission threat. He won by submission. BJJ black belt. Definitely his specialty is the grappling, but he was piecing Duncan up on the feet. The first round was fairly evenly matched in my opinion. It wasn't until obviously there's a pretty sizable strike difference between the two, most of which came when Moicano had Duncan on the floor. He had his back and he was using the 12-6 elbows, and he was hitting the side of the face while controlling his, I believe it was his right hand over Duncan's left hand, and he was hitting him with the left hand to the side of the face. Not the most significant strikes, but that's where the difference was coming in. Ultimately, Moicano got Duncan down on the floor, got it done. This was an interesting one. Like I said, I mean, two teammates fighting each other in a fight night seems interesting. They're going to strain that relationship over. I can't imagine what the payout was. I don't know. I mean, Moicano got a sub, so that's a bonus right there. I don't think he got fight of the night or performance of the night. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but Moicano, I don't know who we'll find next. Maybe the winner of Gamrot versus Ribovics, maybe, or yeah, maybe the winner of Dariush versus Torres. Who knows? He said he wants easy money, so maybe he'll fight the loser of those fights instead. Duncan, back to the drawing board. We'll see who he faces next. This card was decent. I mean, I had a great time watching it. A lot of people ignored it. I'm sure they were just hanging out with the family for Easter, getting ready for 327, whatever. Didn't have a whole lot of name value, but it was an exciting card. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.